What are you doing? What's going on, Geralt?
Move. Now.
Good to meet you finally.
Good to meet you too. Pleasure.
Pleasure's all ours, by the way. Now, you've been a long-time fan of The Witcher. You played the games before, you stated.
Yes.
What was the most fulfilling thing about finally getting to be in the role of Geralt of Rivia?
For me, I think the most fulfilling thing so far to date has been working with Wolfgang Stegemann on the Blaviken fight in episode 1 of season 1. That was a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun to continue to tell a character's story through action, rather than action just being a separate piece and something just to keep people looking at TV. It's actually something which furthers the audience's knowledge of a character. And so for me, that's been the most rewarding piece. We both put a lot of work into that, into designing it and then executing it as well. And in that, you have contained Geralt in a nutshell, basically. And there's so much more to Geralt. There's his intellectual side, there's his philosophical side, but in there you actually see his emotionality. You see, of course, his how dangerous he is, and also what he's willing to do. You push that person far enough, they're going to stop pulling their punches, and he will kill you. And that's an interesting thing for a hero to do. And it's always been interesting for me to explore that side of Geralt. And so far, that's been the most wonderful piece.
Anything else? I have nothing to hide.
And his character really develops in season 2. We get to see more personal side of him, don't we?
We do, yes. I campaigned very, very hard to have the character from the books exist within the show, as much as Lauren's vision would allow and the plot and storyline would allow. But I wanted to make sure that he came across as more three-dimensional and true to the character that Sapkowski so brilliantly wrote. For me, it was more intellectual, has a philosophical lean, and he's not just this sort of grumpy, stoic, doesn't really get what's going on character. He has a wisdom to him, and he's been alive for 70 plus years. Exactly. And so he will have a certain sense of wisdom. And he's also been living alone on the outskirts of society to a degree because of how people treat witches. And so there's going to be a certain amount of introspection there with a character like that. And then when we see him with his Witcher brothers as well, and in particular, Vesemir, the relationship there, I wanted to, and Kim and I worked very hard together to put something together that wasn't on the page as such. And it was the sense of family between the two, which was a gentle touch. It wasn't just like we're roughy-tufty men and we live in the mountains. It was actually quite emotional and quite sweet and touching, and the way they interact with each other has a real soulfulness and a depth to it. And it was such a pleasure working with Kim on that, because I felt like us putting our heads together just brought something to it which was more true to the books.
I need your help.
Fine. But first, gentlemen.
Was it an advantage having already been a fan of the characters, and did it make you more critical of your performance as Geralt?
Yes, it's an interesting one. Sometimes an advantage, sometimes a disadvantage, depending on how heavy an adaptation is. But it definitely helps with the understanding of a character. And it definitely has been an assistance for me as far as where I want to take the character, what I want to bring to the character. For me, it's all there in the source material. It's all there in the existing IP, and it's just about making sure that exists in the live action as well. And again, as I say, as much as it's allowed within the vision the showrunner has and within the plots, the storylines. But that's the exciting part for me. I'm such a fan of those books and an enormous fan of the games as well. But it's a huge advantage having that knowledge, because then I can start applying stuff in my own way. It doesn't have to be on the page. I can do it in performance.
The look of a man who's wondering why his old friend is cheating.
You got me there. Magic knives.
Henry Cavill, thanks for your time. All right.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you
Take care
very
of yourselves. Our mom say hi, Rosie and Jasmine. Take care. All right.
Okay.